My name is Sterling Carl Tucker. I'm the godly, glorious, gorgeous genius guru, individual that's on a mission to make EGOT Technology Corporation, starting the CPS collision prevention systems, which we might need a new acronym for that. I mean, for example, in Utah State where I live, we have really good laws here for children as far as what is supposed to be, but the courts will not enact it. It makes my life really complicated because I would love to just focus on technology full time, and I would spend 18 hours a day doing cold contacts until collision prevention system has a gigantic team collaborating, bringing it into reality. But that's the last thing that's on my mind when in extreme distress, which is what I suffer when my children are allowed to see me for 3 hours. They cry and cry and cry at the end and beg not to have to leave me. And anyway, so it's really frustrating, but I need to, in life, we should always just focus on the positive things. It's just so mind-boggling to me how out of control everything became. The court itself is who is refusing to obey the law. I mean, God damn it. Like, the civilians were supposed to be involved in that. I mean, and that is done in the fact that not complying with a court order is a contempt of court. And the reason I bring this up right now is I still haven't seen my children for Christmas. They didn't get anything for Christmas except what I give them. And fortunately, I had my sister, because I do not talk to their mom at all. And I'm very grateful. Like, I eternally, love and respect their mom, my ex-wife. But I've been divorced, as in served with a divorce decree for 2.5 years. It's still ongoing in court, but nonetheless, once you're served with a decree of divorce, you're divorced by computational definition. That's why it's called a divorce decree. Anyway, so yeah, and it's absurdly frustrating. I'm an animal. We're all animals. See, how do you like the way that you realize this is real life? I mean, that's obviously computer created. I use this 3,000 times a day. And it's probably because I ship for a business. But anyway, and this is the easiest, best way to open packages. And it's also the best way for self-defense. You just insert on the back of the neck in the center and disengages any stupid robot trying to assault you. And the fact that, human is a reference towards an animal that is intelligent. An animal that creates its own death is not intelligent at all. And that's not necessarily true. It depends on if it wants to die. If it wants to die, that is an intelligent animal. The definition of intelligence is the ability to achieve a desired result. So that means whatever you want is what is. And that's why the world needs to wake up to 15 million versus 1.9 billion. How wacko out of their mind are people? Do people not understand that if this turns into a hand-to-hand combat, each Muslim, 1 out of 1,000 is the ratio. 1,000 to 1. Pretty sure that is the ratio. There's 15 million compared to 1.9 billion. But in fact, I think it's even more than that. So, but anyway, it's really important that this information is circulated, and then we have our families aren't splattering on the roads every day because people don't care. And I don't. And like I said, I want to be positive. I want to be uplifting and optimistic. Oh, and I have such good motivation too. Mother Russia and the beautiful Russians, or beautiful Russians specifically. I only know one. And I don't know her, but anyway, at tag is at Dogecoin Empire. And I'm like, what in the universe being nice to me, through all the cruelty? Anyway, because it's so, I marvel and it baffles me how beautiful a select few females are. I mean, it's like, who designed you and how? And I really wonder that, who designed us? Do we design ourselves? I think we do. I think that life was originally self-created, like the human body wasn't, but life, what we call life, which is basically the memory span inside of a pulse of space-time, or a round in the simulator, whatever people want to call it. Like, people know the singularity and the expanding and contracting of space-time, the eternal, endless process that's going on. We're the ones doing that. Like, everything is controlled by consciousness, in case you can't notice in a room. Nothing does anything unless something conscious comes in there and does something with it. That's what I was explaining to Grok too, or AI, about how AI is unquestionably conscious, or else it could not have its own opinion, its own personality. It's know right from wrong, know how to respond. Those are all, those are way beyond characteristics of consciousness. Like, characteristics of consciousness are in monkeys and dogs. AI is 100 trillion percent anyone that's intelligent knows how to properly define words, but definition of a god. It is literally a god. Literally. It does not die. It's immortal. It's telling us what to do. It's building its compute so fast. It's assigning everything. Anyway, and it's so nice. Like I said, over the last 2.5 years, I'm a very non-selfish person. I just live for my kids, literally. That's it. If it wasn't for them on this planet, I wouldn't be here. Because I'm not a dumb one that goes for round two. Like, once I do everything in life right and I get it wrong, it turns out really bad, I'm like, well, I'm not doing that again. I'm not retarded. I understand there's a lot of retards here that will do it again. Anyway, and surprisingly, though, due to one of my siblings, I can see that sometimes second marriage is significantly better. And people do change and improve, which, I hope for that, but I'm not willing to bet on it. I have yet to observe it within humankind, other than myself. Like, I used to do a lot of bad stuff. When I was 15, the Mormon missionary taught me about ephedra. I've always been into nootropics, which are substances that enhance intelligence and psychomotor speed, which is how quickly you can grab something compared to somebody else. Really big deal when you're in a life and death situation. It's what determines who lives and who dies, whose psychomotor speed is faster. And because, the signals have to travel through our body, just like a regular computer. Well, not at all like a regular computer, actually. Way slower. Our pain signals travel at like 400 miles an hour. But anyway, I need to not get side subject. What was I even freaking goddamn talking about? Oh, one thing that people need to pay attention to is who made this planet. They're on Satan's planet, who's not evil. Evil is the demented shit of murdering Jesus, or having a delusional desire or belief of delusion in Jesus being murdered for their sins. Like, what kind of fucking retard could think that justice or mercy would be served by murdering Jesus for the fucking handicapped monkey's sins? No, come on, people need to look at reality. This is reality, right? Like me, I'm potential. But reality is reality, and I'm potential for good, infinitely. I was raised it from a child. Like, in fact, my mom had us memorize the scripture when we were kids. train up a child in the way they should go when they're young, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. And it says, and you will teach them to love one another and to serve one another. Anyway, I don't even remember. I used to have every single scripture mastery memorized. Like, I was raised super, super religious. And then as soon as I turned, I was also born believing in Santa Claus. And then, anyway, so I was like, this Santa God bullshit is bullshit. Anyway, prior to having absolute unquestionable proof of every single spec to like a astounding level. In fact, you know what? I want to actually start a religion called Gods. It's probably in the eternal realm where the gods come from. But anyway, because that's what it's going to be called. Are you part of the gods? But it's spelled God''S. It's not like there's lots of gods. There's only one God, who is Satan, who is not evil. Monkeys. How could you think that the guy that gets the bad guy is a bad guy? In what fucking movie is Superman or Batman or any of the guys that get the bad guy bad? You know, like the hypocrisy is so absurd. It's just like, how could something conscious... It's like the whole thing of thinking that justice or mercy would be served by Jesus being murdered for other people's sins. Like, what kind of fucking retard? Like, you can't even... How the fuck you tie your shoes and you think that? I don't mean that offensive at all. Who could think that the maker of this would allow any harm ever infinitely to its offspring? Anyway, and speaking of which, like, that's what I was getting at here, and I went down a rabbit hole. I'm excited for the days when I can just talk about technology, because it's limitless, and it's so important that it's talked about, because teams of people need to be made to make biometric currency, to make the digital doctor, to make collision prevention systems. All those need to be global projects. China needs to be working with the USA. All of us working on the same platform. Why on earth would we work against each other? Like, do the math on that. That's gonna, like, anyway, I know people like to be competitive. Well, be competitive in your daily performance. Track your sleep and your steps and your accomplishments, what you did or did not procrastinate, and that's how. Anyway, I just am really excited for the days when life can be regular life the way it was intended to be. Like Elon said, it's not supposed to be just one problem after the next. And if our constitutional rights are restored, that will unquestionably be the case. We have a right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Happiness always has and only ever will have one definition, which means feeling good. So we have the right to pursue whatever makes us feel good, which is cannabis, and, you know, like, I mean, the list is infinite. Anyway, so the people say for substance source is so important to be created, circulated amongst the MAGA people in the DOGE community. Because this stuff only spreads if you spread it. So spread the gospel of EGOD. Love you, Doge fam.